Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. The Missouri Secretary of State, Jay Ashcroft, decided to say some negative things about veterans being treated differently than the civilian population, and basically is saying that we should all just be treated the same. Veterans shouldn't get anything more than anybody else. And again, that we are all the same. And look, we're not all the same. Veterans signed a blank check to put their life on the line for the country. Sorry. I mean, there is that. So, veterans are obviously an important piece of our entire existence. Without veterans, we would not have these people as elected folks or sitting in different positions within the government. So, anyway, I want to read to you some of this news brief here that I found, and mainly to bring it to your awareness, because this type of behavior and thought pattern is not acceptable, and when we see it, we need to squash it, quite frankly. So let's jump into it. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I'd love to see your comments. All right, let's move in. So Jay Ashcroft draws bipartisan attacks over comments about veterans benefits. And then moving into this news brief article thing here, Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft, who is the Missouri Secretary of State, Jay Ashcroft, is facing criticism from both Republican and Democrat rivals over comments he made at a candidate forum this weekend, calling into question the fairness of special benefits for veterans. During a panel for I never can say this, gubernatorial candidates, the governor candidates, right? Whatever, you know what I mean. At the annual Missouri Republican Party Lincoln Days in Kansas City over the weekend, Ashcroft was asked how the state can better support veterans and active duty military personnel. And that's a great question for any state elected official. So that should be something that every politician is ready to answer. Ashcroft said, "We need to do what we promised them," before acknowledging he was about to say something that probably isn't what you want for the answer to your question. "I don't think we ought to treat people based on classifications," he said. "I think we ought to treat everybody equally. And I don't think we ought to say that if you live here, we're going to charge you this, but if you live here, we charge you this. I don't think we ought to say, if you're in the military, we'll give you this discount, but everybody else has to pay twice as much. I don't think that's good government." So there's a lot to unpack in that there's a lot of oughts in that, but whatever. There's a lot to unpack, right? So the question is, okay, is he really talking about just I can already envision it now. I was just talking about the discounts, getting a discount for being a veteran or whatever. Okay, but were you really? Because, he prefaced it with the, if you live here or if you live there, and then slides over to the veteran piece and everybody's the same. If for 1 second he is thinking that VA disability compensation for those that have served our nation and is part of our national fabric, this guy is off his frickin' rocker. Anyway, let's move on. Sorry, I feel like garbage. All right. When someone is a member of the military and moves into the state, Ashcroft said, it is harder sometimes to get licensed and make sure you have licensing reciprocatory. What I always said was, why don't we just make that rule for everybody? Why don't we just say that government is the problem and let's get government out of the way? Let people make their own decisions and not keep picking and choosing winners and losers. He concluded, I appreciate veterans. I have veterans in my family. I like what they've done. That's pretty funny. But what we ought to do is say, if it's good for veterans, it's good to do for everyone. That's a weird statement. All right. State Senator Bill Eagle, I'm not sure how you say it, Eagle, a Weldon Spring Republican who served in the Air Force, responded to Ashcroft's comments during the forum by saying he was stunned to hear one of the candidates here say he's not interested in looking into veterans' issues or helping them out. He continued his criticism Wednesday as footage of Ashcroft's comments began to spread on social media. "I lost friends. I saw the struggle upon returning to the States," he said. "I disdain the ruling elite who send our men and women to die in their wars, all while doing nothing to ensure their sacrifice is honored when they return home." Lieutenant Governor Mike, I don't know how to say it, Kehoe, a Republican from Jefferson County or Jefferson City, who also participated in the candidate forum, said Wednesday evening that that for Jay Ashcroft to treat our veterans as anything less than heroes is disrespectful to all veterans and their families. Communities across our state value our nation's heroes and their service and sacrifice to our country, and they would want their governor to do the same. Totally. Democrats also piled on. Emma O'Brien, press secretary for the Democratic Governors Association, called Ashcroft an insider politician who only looks out for himself but wants to rip away benefits from members of the military and veterans who put their lives on the line to protect our freedom. In a statement from The Independent Wednesday evening, Ashcroft did not address the criticism but said it is shameful that we have failed to fulfill our commitment to our veterans. Nice try to turn that around. Too late. All right. "No Americans make a greater sacrifice for our freedoms and security than the men and women who wear the uniform of our armed services," the statement read. "The sacrifices that they and their families make are unimaginable for those of us who have not served. I honor that service, and as governor, I will make our commitment to them. I will make our commitment to them a priority without qualification." So obviously he's trying to undo where he went. Ashcroft, a two-term secretary for the state whose father served as auditor, attorney general, governor, and U.S. Senator of Missouri, has consistently led both Kehoe and Eagle in polls of the GOP governor primary. And that concludes it. But I'll tell you what, that is not the type of underlying attitude that you want from any of your elected officials. I don't care what side they're on. What matters is that they are pro-veteran for everything that I talk about, right? So anyway, if you're in Missouri, I'd love to get your take. I know nothing else about this guy other than this is what was popping up in my different feeds, and I wanted to share it with you. So please, I'd love to see the comments. Have a great one. Remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.